Hey guys, it's really difficult to hear because our cell phone service is spotty out here, but we are right off of US 23. This is the intersection of 23 and M50, and you can see down this way it is blocked off, and we are going to show you some significant damage just in this area. This is an area heavily traversed. An estimated 6 million people a year come to Cabela's, so if you're watching, you may be familiar with this. This behind us is the Shell station. You can see the pumps. I'm going to aim right at them with the flashlight. Blown over. 3 in a row right there up front, and then 1 off to the right as well. And we're zooming in on those. The pumps are blown over. We talked with the people who were working here overnight, and they were inside, huddled down, when all of a sudden they tell us, you know, the sky turned green and the wind gusted. The 3rd floor of Splash Universe, the part of the wall, some of the roof has been ripped off. Now we're talking to folks who were staying at the hotel coming across the street, and they're coming over to the Comfort Inn and Suites. Country Inn, and they were telling us at this point there's a triage set up at the high school. We got a bus coming over in this direction to the left, Rich. You see the school bus, and we can only presume that people are on board that school bus being led by state police and an ambulance very slowly down M50 because we've got a truck pulling a boat at them in the other direction. So, you know, people coming out here for the weekend expecting to have a good time, and something like this comes along. Not only a disruption to their plans, but a disruption to their lives. And you can see that bus is packed full of people. They are all presumably people who are staying at Splash Universe, at the Holiday Inn Express. They are in a Dundee community school bus, and from what we are told, people who are also at the hotel as they're transporting anyone who was injured, potentially everybody, over to the high school. But we can't make our way down that way. It is blocked off. We've got 3 school buses coming by, a whole fleet of emergency vehicles now coming up the way. They are all being escorted to the other end of town. Again, these are people who did not live in town. They came to Dundee to enjoy the weekend, and the hotel was hit by what appeared to be a tornado. Take a look at this footage. This is along Main Street on the west side of town. Right now we're, on the east side of town. We're on the west side right now. This is the newer end of town, but on the older part of town along the River Raisin on the north side, we've got trees down, trees ripped right in half. Some of them pulled up by the roots, and the cement, the sidewalk came right along with it. We saw them on the power lines, we saw them on the houses, and we saw them everywhere. And people were just walking around sort of dazed and stunned. Some people said they were sitting on their porches when this all went down around 2 o'clock, and the trees just started snapping like twigs and getting matted straight down at them. And from what we can ascertain when we look at the radar, it looks like the tornado hit on one spot of the street and then wrapped back around and hit a little lower down the street. It didn't touch all the way down from what we can tell because the trees were snapped about 15 feet in the air. But here's what some of the witnesses told us as we made our way through all of the debris.
Well, we took your warning seriously, and we listened to Big Blizzard Bill, and he said this one was coming with a punch.
A whole lot of wind. You couldn't see out the windows or anything. A lot of trees coming down.
It looks like we're going to be out of work for a couple days.
You feel compelled to stop and talk to everyone. Everyone is asking us what we've seen, and we ask them what they've seen, and we just want to make sure that everyone is okay. And so far, all we've heard are treatable injuries, no words of fatalities, and it truly is remarkable when you see the depth and gravity of this damage. Back to you.
Yeah, we brought, can you hear us? Are you still with us, Tony?
Yes.
We brought this up much earlier, I think near the 6 o'clock hour. You know, that community is very near and dear to you. You know those people. They're your neighbors. Tell us about that perspective in that this is your town.
It really is, and well, I've been a resident here for 7 years, and my wife, you know, when the storm hit this morning, we grabbed the kids and we went downstairs, and we just feel very fortunate that we are all okay. My wife was actually in tears when I left this morning. She helped drive me as far as she could into town. We couldn't get very far at that point because all the trees were blocking the way. Right now, they've made short work of that. They've taken all the trees out of the road, sawed them up, and hauled them off to the side so the cars can get through, and a lot of people are just driving around taking a look at all that damage. But yeah, it's hard not to get choked up when you see what's happened to this community because it is a part of me, actually. And last year around this time we had flooding, and this year we got hit by tornadoes. So it's been an unlucky couple of years here, but what we've seen today are a lot of the best in people coming through, neighbor helping neighbor, and that's really when a community shows its true colors, Lee.
Thanks, Tony.
The sheriff is about to get out of the chopper, and perhaps we can get a word with him if he can make his way in this direction, but we know that we've seen him circling the entire area. Sorry to get you on the spot here, Sheriff, but we just happen to be live. I'm just wondering if you can, as you landed here, I know you got a good survey of the area, if you can kind of brief us on what you saw.
There's a lot of wind damage, some buildings destroyed, barns mostly. One of the houses, of course, is destroyed, a lot of roof damage.
13 ABC's Tony Geftis shows us the damage and the cleanup.
It may be the worst storm to hit Dundee ever.
This is pretty bad. I don't think I've ever seen something like this.
Trees are down all across this village of 4,500 people. Many of those trunks and branches crashed into homes and vehicles.
Both of the cars and through the garage. Pretty bad.
Storms whipped through here in the middle of the night.
I was running down the basement, and that's when I saw this tree down, saw the branches in the window there. And yeah, and I didn't find out my car looked like that until this morning.
I came running outside and barefoot, and you know, my clothes I had on for bed, and saw that and called 911, and it's just amazing.
By the light of day, the extent of the damage was apparent, and for some, overwhelming. What's staggering about the damage is not how severe it is, but how widespread. You can see treetops sheared off for about a mile in every direction. Cleanup started almost immediately, with many stepping up and pitching in.
And we're going around street to street, stopping every so far apart and making sure everybody's got food and water.
But it will take days, even weeks, until that cleanup is over.
We'll bounce back. We'll clean it all up. It'll be beautiful again. Give us time.
In Dundee, Tony Geftis, 13 ABC Action News.
13 ABC's Tony Geftis got a view of the damage from the sky today.
Hi, I'm Tony Geftis, along for the ride with Monroe County. This is Deputy Shoemaker. He's at the controls here, and we are surveying the damage high above Dundee in the Raptor. Take a look down below us. This is the Splash Universe Hotel Water Park, and you can clearly see the damage to the roof from what apparently were tornadoes that tore through the area earlier. Boy, when you take a look at it from this angle, it is really easy to see how quickly everything happened and how small everything looks. It seems like when you're up high like this, it would be easy to have a force of nature knock everything around. Area that was hardest hit as far as power lines down. We got about a mile here of poles laying across M50. This is the road commission building that's roof blown off, wall fall in, roof trusses falling down right on top of the trucks. This here's a barn right there is what this is. This is the house that the lady was trapped in on Monk Road right there. She was under all of that debris when the house came down? Yep, they had to dig her out. Away, look at the car. We know they had M50 blocked off, and they were working on that for a long time. That car is smashed in, and that whole house is trashed. Wow. We can only hope for the best. I'll bring you around a gentle turn here, but you'll see the grain storage facility that's completely destroyed. Those are brand new grain storage bins that were going on. Now you can just take a look all over town, Kevin, and see all of these trees ripped right about 10 feet, 15 feet into the air, snapped. We're heading down Main Street right now. From this distance, it's tough to see the damage that's on the ground. You can see where there's a line cutting through the neighborhoods, starting at one end and then going all the way to the back of the other. There's clearly a lot of damage in and around Dundee, highly visible from the air, but everyone we spoke with on the ground is thankful because it could have been much worse. High above Dundee, I'm Tony Geftis for 13 ABC Action News.